I'm not gonna back up from what I said. I said it. It's out there. If and the thing is, it's on tape. You can go watch our show, Sports Take, from Friday, and hear exactly what I said. I'm not going to back up from it. But people took it, well, they weren't doing 11 on 11s, and they weren't doing this, and they weren't. I didn't say that. We all know it's a controlled environment. I basically said it added up to the equivalent of these things. But see, once again, people hear what they want to hear. But that's all right, because people are trying to get, that's clickbait. Don't believe it. Yeah, okay. There are a lot of people in our media that do things and say things for clickbait only. And I'm not saying any names. If you're smart enough in the Philadelphia region, you know who they are. I don't do that. If you look at my Twitter line up and down for the last 10 years, you don't see me throwing clickbaits out there, okay? So you get that out of your mind right now. Now, all I said was one practice, and then Barrett started shaking his head. Yeah, well, I heard the same thing. Am I correct, Barrett?
And I did, and
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome on in. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, along with Barrett Brooks, Derrick Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. Good to see you, fellas. How was our weekend? Did we have a good weekend, guys?
We actually did, man. But, we got to get some stuff going, man.
Yeah, I was trying to do the soft landing into it. Yeah.
No.
Hey, look, I'm in a fight mood anyway, because I've been up since 7:30. I got people banging all over the house, man. Fixing now. They're moving this way. My wife decided she wants some new shutters across the front.
Right.
Also, we need. She's been after me for a couple of years. So now that we have this crew here, I say, hey, can you put them up? So yeah, they're putting them up. So they start on the far end, and I'm in my bedroom, and they'll be coming this way soon. So you will hear drills, hammers, everything else. So if you have to go, that's because they're right outside the window where I am in a short while from now. So I've been up 7:30. What?
What took you so long?
Barrett, bite your lip. Bite your lip, Barrett. Bite your lip. See, if Trish was here, she'd be all over this.
She deserves it.
Yeah.
What do I deserve? What about me?
We'll get to all the house issues. But so on the show Friday, we were having a discussion, and we were talking about the Eagles, naturally, as we want to do on our show. We talk about everything, but the Eagles certainly are the probably dominate more airtime than anything else. And at one point, Derrick, you referenced what you had been told by someone close to the situation at one of the OTAs. And I don't want to
one practice.
So then that's caused a firestorm. It's all I'm hearing on WIP. It's all I've gotten on social media all weekend for people reacting and doing the usual, oh, this is clickbait, and all that. And then AJ Brown, Eagles wide receiver, jumped in on it, and everybody's kind of having a field day here. So I want to let you, and there have been others in the media who should know better, who are chiming in and saying things. But anyway, let's start with you, Derrick, and what exactly you said that you had heard. And let's put this in context, because sometimes people take a quote that they see rather than listening to the entire soundbite and reacting. So the floor is yours.
So what did I tell you guys? Twitter is Satan, okay? Basically, Twitter is Satan. So basically all I said was I was informed. Now, first of all, anybody who knows me over the last 25 years in this region knows I don't put something out there unless I got it in an authoritative comment, correct? I think we can all agree on that.
Correct. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. So all I said basically was I was told at one practice, Jalen Hurts struggled. And they weren't doing 11 on 11s. It was like 7 on 7s. But, it basically was the equivalent of 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, and 3 incompletions, okay? Or, 4 incompletions, 3 sacks, whatever adds up to 10. I can't remember. Man, this new math killing me. That's all I said. And I'm not surprised that once it hit social media, people took all with it and ran with it in 100 different directions. I'm not going to back up from what I said. I said it. It's out there. And the thing is, it's on tape. You can go watch our show, Sports Take, from Friday, and hear exactly what I said. I'm not going to back up from it. But people took it, well, they weren't doing 11 on 11s, and they weren't doing this, and I didn't say that. We all know it's a controlled environment. I basically said it added up to the equivalent of these things. But see, once again, people hear what they want to hear. But that's all right, because people are trying to get, that's clickbait. Don't believe it. Yeah, okay. There are a lot of people in our media that do things and say things for clickbait only. And I'm not saying any names. If you're smart enough in the Philadelphia region, you know who they are. I don't do that. If you look at my Twitter line up and down for the last 10 years, you don't see me throwing clickbaits out there. Okay. So you get that out of your mind right now. Now, all I said was one practice, and then Barrett started shaking his head. Yeah, well, I heard the same thing. Am I correct, Barrett?
And I did, and
there you go.
These guys aren't going to be perfect. You guys everybody knows I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. You know what I'm saying? I understand what it is to be in this market as a player. But I can't even imagine being on the level that right now that Jalen Hurts is on. We're talking about the starting quarterback of an NFL team. And he's not going to be perfect all the time. In fact, he does have, some stuff that he needs to work on. That's absolutely what happened. I heard the same thing from a reliable source. I don't know if it's the same source as Derrick Gunn, because we're not going to, we don't do that. That's why you keep a source. Yeah.
Yes,
you keep a source by not giving up a source. So,
exactly.
It might not be the same source, but I did hear that. But also in talking to that source said that, hey, I'm telling you, the kid is ready to rock. He said, you're right. The kid is ready to rock and roll. He didn't have a good day that day. I said, well, you give him camp. Give me your synopsis over the entire camp. He said he's definitely improved his mechanics. He improved how he approaches the game.
There you go.
He improved a lot of things going into this season that he's going to be a much better player than he was before. I said, that's all I can ask for. And then I asked him, well, will he be a $4 million quarterback? And the same source said that's the going rate for starting quarterback. It doesn't necessarily depict of him being a top 10 quarterback. It doesn't say he's going to be a bottom 10 quarterback. That's just the going rate for what quarterbacks are going to be paid as starters in the NFL. As we continue the conversation, I said, well, what about Jimmy G? He was like, well, just talking to sources there, Jimmy G will probably more than likely be in San Fran. So, it wasn't just us talking about Hurts or anything else. It was talking about, a wealth of information was being processed during that time, going back and forth. What I've heard, he's heard, and that's how it is. And that's how
you meant 40 million, right? Not 4, right? Just
40 million. Yeah, 40 million.
Gotcha. Okay.
40 million.
Just to clarify. Okay.
I'm not my fault. 40 million.
Gotcha.
40 million. 40
yeah. So, but again, just the problem, I think what happens a lot of times now, not that it didn't happen back in the day, but it's way more prevalent now, is context. So what you were saying was that was the report that you got for that day. It doesn't mean that this was every day of the OTAs.
No,
the other thing people are going crazy with is the sack thing. The sack thing is essentially like the clock would have been up, right?
Thank you.
How long you think rid of the ball. Not that he's being tackled to the ground, which they don't do anyway.
No.
They wouldn't do with quarterbacks anyway. All right. So there's that part of it.
They do keep a clock out there. So you see, for those who don't know, they keep a clock, a timer out there.
There you go.
During 7-on-7, would say, all right, because a quarterback is not going to get over 4 or 5 seconds to throw the ball.
Correct.
No, he's got to either throw it away, complete it, or scramble.
Yeah. Right. So a 7-step drop probably happens if you're an offensive lineman. If you block more than 3.5, 4 minutes, you've done your job.
Right.
Some players that like Hurts, like Randall Cunningham, like McNabb, tend to hold the ball a little longer. If they hold the ball a little longer, that's when you get the escapability, and that's what enters into the what you're talking about as far as a quarterback having legs that he can move around, and so a guy like a statue back there like a Peyton Manning, he'll have the ball out a little faster because he understands what his gifts are, and running is definitely not his gift. So he'll get it out a little faster. So that's what you got to put it in context. There's no rushers out there, but there's a timer out there that gives them. Defense knows that it can't cover for 10 seconds. They can't cover for 5-6 seconds. That's just you're trying to get the work in. That's what they were trying to do.
Yeah. So again, just trying to clarify this and make people understand who don't take the time to listen to the entire clip. Number one, who want to just react off of like third-party information that they're getting. Number two, and think that, not that I need to be your lawyer by any stretch, Derrick. I don't. Your body of work speaks for itself. But for someone who's done it the way that you have done it and the way you conduct yourself for as long as you have, this isn't some Skip Bayless hot take where you're just trying to get people to react. And the other part is, whenever you talk about a quarterback in this town, could be Jalen Hurts, it could go back to when I was a kid, it was Ron Jaworski. It's polarizing. Everybody loses their mind. There's no objectivity. It's one or the other.
It's
feast or
social
famine.
media. It's
social
media,
media,
man.
exactly.
And this will die down in a day or so. See, the thing is, when I saw it, I just started laughing on Twitter, and I saw all these different comments, and I'm just laughing because that's exactly what happens.
Right.
You got so basically, I'm lying. If anybody knows me, how long have you known me, Rob? 25 years?
Yes, 25.
How long have you known me, Barry?
Well, you wouldn't talk to me, but I have known you 25 years.
Wow.
You've known
wow.
I said hello once, back when I was, just a guy playing on the team, when I was on the team. You wouldn't interview me, but I did know you back then, but you didn't know me. Yeah. Never asked me a question. So I mean, but we've been close for the past 7-8 years.
Yeah,
7 years.
Derek's been ignoring Barrett for 25.
Right.
I would also emphasize too close in some way. And as for AJ Brown, I applaud AJ Brown for sticking up for his boy. I applaud him. That's what you do. Coaching staff, that's what you do. You rally around your quarterback. As a teammate, you stick up for your teammate. This is who you have to go to war with. I applaud it. Yes, but I'm not gonna back down from what I said because I don't make it up. I've been covering this game for over 40 years. I've covered the Chargers, the Packers, the Steelers, the Eagles. I've approached every reporting aspect of my career the same way I reported what I just reported last Friday. Okay, if I don't second and third cross-reference it, I don't put it out there. Okay, that's simple. And people want to run with it to get hot. It's early. It's mid-July. They're not going to play a game until September. And you think I'm the only one that's going to negatively critique? How many people since last offseason have negatively critiqued Jalen Hurts? How many times since we started this show on April 18th have all of us sat here and said, I'm pulling for Jalen Hurts. I hope he proves everybody wrong. I hope he makes a $600 million contract. I do.
My dog.
The way he goes about his business, the way he handles himself in front of the media, I applaud the way this young man at 24 years old approaches his business. I hope he proves everybody wrong, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to report something I hear on the cuff, just like everybody else.
Derek, and Barrett, that's the other part. I think of really probably any show, we've been about as fair with Jalen Hurts as you could be. I mean this on both sides. Fair. Absolutely. In that I think and not that we all share the same opinions on everything, we certainly don't, but I think on this one, we're all in this sort of mindset of probably didn't have enough last year. He's in his first year as a starter, as a full-time starter, with a first-year head coach and a first-year coordinator, and there's a lot to be said for that. They went out and they got him weapons. Now's the year. Put up or shut up. Let's see what you got. There isn't one person who doesn't tell you repeatedly how much this kid works hard, what a leader he is, on and on and on. So it's strange to me that people, especially people who should know better, come out and say things that, question this. But whatever, it's all good. You remember. Right. I have a memory like an elephant. Man, so
you do, man.
That's okay.
You remember the 50 cent I borrowed from you when I was trying to invent the machine.
Wow.
That's 55 cents now, man.
Wow.
That's the vague. You're paying some juice on that.
Wow.
But, realistically, Jalen Hurts is in a position where he can be as successful as any quarterback in the league, or he can regress. Like 9 times out of 10, most of the quarterbacks in the league. Yeah. I'm looking at it almost like I'm looking at San Fran's situation, but it's 2 quarterbacks instead of the one Hurts quarterback.
Right.
I see Jalen Hurts as a guy that could be Jimmy Garoppolo, who can run the team, be very efficient, get them to the playoffs, even get them to the championship game, even get them to a Super Bowl with his skill set. But I also see a quarterback that can regress and can be, he could be, Trey Lance, who hasn't gotten good enough to command the team, so they're keeping a guy around they shouldn't. Right. I mean, I see it both aspects. He could go either way. I'm on the board thinking that he's going to do like Jimmy Garoppolo and be as good as Jimmy Garoppolo going into championship. I think that he can be that type of player for this team, especially with the weapons that they have for him. And, I might be a little biased. He's my quarterback of my team, number 1. Number 2, he's my fraternity brother. Number 3, he's just a good freaking dude.
Right.
I mean, yes. He has all the things. And I'm tired of talking about intangibles because I know a lot of quarterbacks that don't have intangibles who are great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But he has that. He has everything that you want from a quarterback. I think the biggest thing for us is, and the weird thing is not necessarily how many games he can win, but is he worth that $40 million a
There
year
you go. There you
quarterback money
and
that
also,
he may acquire?
You brought up Jimmy G and a couple other guys. There's a big difference between being Jimmy G and being Ryan Tannehill, who are good players who get you to the
Kirk
playoffs.
Cousins.
Yeah, or Kirk Cousins, who Cousins it puts up numbers and all that. That's fine. You're obviously like those guys can get you to the playoffs, and that's great. Can he win you a championship? Is it fair to ask that question? We know, guys, there's tiers, and there's Rodgers and the upper echelon, right? And then there's some really good quarterbacks in that next tier. Is that where Jalen tops out at? And I just don't think we know right now.
Well, let me give you this, Rob. I'm gonna give you one quarterback who is both of those. Who's both of those? I played with Ben Roethlisberger, but then I didn't get a chance to play with Big Ben. When I played with Ben Roethlisberger, he was Ben Roethlisberger. He hadn't made the title. He hadn't become the title of Big Ben yet.
Right.
He didn't become Big Ben for me until he won the Super Bowl, the next Super Bowl he won, where he had the immaculate pass to Holmes.
Yep.
For the touchdown to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he became Big Ben.
Yep.
But I did play with Ben Roethlisberger and won a Super Bowl with him when we won the Super Bowl in spite of Ben Roethlisberger.
Great point.
In spite of him. It wasn't like he had a bad game, but he had the game that he wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't even throw a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown. It just happened to be over my side, too. I'm just letting y'all know.
Barrett, I think that is a great – no, I mean it. Way to get yourself there. Nice job, man. That was awesome. Don't tear a rotator cuff.
Right.
No, but I'm saying I think that's a great analogy because he was still in the the infant stage. He was kind of growing up, right? He didn't
throw a touchdown pass.
Right.
And you guys, your defense, right, and Randall L. and other guys in your defense picked him up, right? Okay, and the other game, he had to do some things himself. Not all of it. There was obviously guys made plays in the game, but when you needed a money throw, he made that. He grew into that. Right. These guys aren't finished products. Like the notion that Jalen Hurts at 23, we're talking about a guy who's 23, okay?
Right. He just turned 24, didn't he?
I'm sorry.
24, yeah. 24.
Can't get better when he's entering his second full season as a starter is absurd.
Exactly.
Of course you can get better. So,
exactly.
But it's not a guarantee. So we just don't know. And that's what, we could sit here and we could bang our heads in the wall and we could debate whether he is or he isn't and all that. We'll know this year. We're going to have a much better idea, I think, of where he's at because he's been given the weapons, because I think the coaching will be better for him. And you take that next step as a player, as you mature, like anything else in life. You're not going to be as good at it when you first start. Exactly. Okay. You need reps, even at the pro level. I know this kid's been playing football his whole life, but I'm talking about at the NFL level. And this is it this year for him.
You don't think the Eagles organization has a two-tier plan in terms of Jalen Hurts? Either they will find out he is the quarterback of the future this season, or they already have a plan in place of what they're going to do in the offseason of next year.
Right.
You don't think they think that far down the road? Yeah. It's that simple. It's an either-or situation. It's not a gray area. This is not a gray area.
Right.
Either Jalen Hurts is going to rise to the occasion and shut up a lot of people, or the Eagles are armed right now and in a good position to move up in the draft if they want to look for a quarterback in 2023. It's that simple.
Right. No, and you know what, Derrick, to your point, okay, the other piece of this is, do you think it was a coincidence that the Eagles made that trade so they had 2 first-rounders next year to have the ammunition to try and get relatively high to either trade for a present quarterback or get up and draft a guy? No, that's not us. That's not you. That's not the media.
That's smart business.
That's right. That's the Eagles writing themselves an insurance policy in case this doesn't, which means they don't 100% believe. And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world either. It's okay.
No.
It's a show it to me league.
It's smart business. That's what you're doing. You don't just plan for today. You plan for the long term. You got to plan down the road. You think when they decided to draft Carson Wentz, they just on a whim decided to draft Carson Wentz? No, that was a long-range plan as they looked at their quarterback situation.
Oh, look what they had. Look what they had in the same. They said they had what's his name in the locker room with him. They went out and got Sam Bradford, so they knew that he wasn't going to be ready. They had somebody there that could play. Man, that's just the nature of how it is. But also, even in saying that, you look at the draft picks that they're going to have. It's not like these draft picks are going to be high. We're still going to be right around 19, 20, 21, because I do see the Saints being pretty good, and I do see the Eagles being pretty good. So in saying that, if the Eagles are where I think they're going to be at, they're going to be drafting pretty daggone far from being up there with the upper echelon quarterbacks like the Van Dykes, the guys like that.
Yeah, Stroud, those guys.
Stroud, yeah. So I mean, it's going to be, we got to put things in perspective. He's still going to have to do a lot of maneuvering if they choose to go in that direction.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. No, believe me, I'm not saying it's like an easy. He had to perform miracles to get up and get Wentz. That was incredible.
Absolutely.
Not every draft you can pull that off. Right. I agree.
Right. But still, though, looking at that, I still don't see them being able to get down there, because if they are picking around 25, 26, then Jalen Hurts did his job and he's the guy. You know what I'm saying?
Go.
If they pick any lower, if they're down there around 10, that means he wasn't the guy.
Correct.
He had a terrible season, and they're going to go in that direction anyways.
Yes.
Well, I would also.
And by the way, I'm with you, Derrick. I like that AJ had his back, but of course he's going to have his back. AJ's his boy.
Yes, that's his boy. Good. I will also throw this caveat out there. Also, Barrett, you say if the Eagles are picking that low, then Jalen's done his job. Well, you could also say, you said it, they could have won in spite of him. The defense could be that much better. They could win in spite of him. Hey, there's a quarterback in 2000 who was not a great quarterback, but won the Baltimore Ravens won that Super Bowl because what? They had one of the best defenses in the history of pro football. Okay.
Right. I played against that defense.
There you go. And so, there are other quarterbacks who had great measure of success. The Jake Deloms and all these guys, there's a whole bunch of those out there that had a good. Was Phil Simms a great quarterback?
No. Was Hostetler? No.
But they had monster defenses, didn't they?
Brad Johnson. I mean,
there you go.
It can happen. Is it more rare? You better be very special in other areas for those guys to win.
Like defense,
I just want these people, all you people out there in social media, listen one more time, because I'm tired of saying this. I'm tired of saying it, okay? I am rooting for Jalen Hurts 150,000%. I hope he shuts up a lot of people. I hope he proves a lot of people wrong. I hope he goes on and gets a $600 million contract. I really do. Kudos to him because he's earned it, okay? So anything else I or anybody on our platform says outside of that, it's an opinion, okay? It's because we've heard things. It's not just stuff we throw against the wall like some members of our media will throw against the wall just to get so-called clickbait.
Yeah.
We don't do that. If you know anything about Rob Ellis, Barrett Brooks, and Derrick Gunn, we don't mention it unless we've talked to people firsthand. It's that simple. Whether you agree with it or not, that's on you. You don't have to agree with us, but we're not going to throw it out there just to be throwing it out there. And if it upsets and stirs the hornet's nest, so be it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, and I just think, too, I hope at some point, I'm afraid the cat's out of the bag, but that we can go back to being able to be critical without being a hater, being able to throw praise without kissing a guy's ass. There can be a happy medium here where you're looking at it objectively and saying, you know what, he didn't have a good practice that day. But you know what? He crushed it on Thursday. That doesn't mean you hated him on Wednesday or you love him and you're blindly loyal to him.
You want him to fail. You know what?
So you guys want the good old days where we had to wait till the next day to hear about it and read it in the Inquirer and stuff like that. No. Hey, I want to thank the super chat also. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty cool. You doing that.
What happened?
The super chat. The Philly. There, super. I mean that. We appreciate that.
What is super chat? What is it?
They paid us to have his opinion put out there. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Okay, I think it was took out of context. I also think it was shocking because most reports said he's been better. A bad day is fair to say, but we ain't hear it then, so that's why it felt like it's so out of left field. All right, fair enough. Yeah,
and you also and also know there are a lot of things that I know I will never put out there. I think since we've been on the air April 18th, we've had enough people like the Brian Westbrooks, the Brian Dawkins, the Jeremiah Trotters, and they have confirmed that D-Gun has kept a lot of stuff to himself, and that's why I've been able to get so close to players in the organization. Okay. So there are a lot of things you will never hear come from me, but if they ever get out there, yes, I can confirm.
Bro, you had Howie Roseman on, bro. You had Howie on.
What else you want? So
And
that should
you know
so
where
that
all
should
the
tell
barrels
people.
are buried. You know where all the
Okay.
bodies are buried, and you still had Howie Roseman on. Bro.
So that should tell people the organization understands I'm not out to do them in. I am not against the organization. They understand that I've been fair and objective for 25 years in this market.
Yeah.
And there are things I will say I've had disagreements with the front office that we have discussed intelligently and adult-like, okay? And we've also agreed not to disagree on certain topics. That's all part of the program, okay? It is. I'm not gonna. I'm a big boy. I'm not gonna back down.
Yeah,
from
one
anything
thing. Look, one thing you know with us, if we put it out there, we're not walking it back. Because we meant it. It was sincere. It was genuine. It was legit. I think people, I hear you better walk that back. Walk what back? That he didn't play well during a practice? Walk it back.
Walk it back. Yeah,
So
anyway, you better walk this way. You better take yourself and walk over this way.
As Aerosmith once said, walk this way, or Run DMC. So anyway, yeah, but again, we got a lot of football in store today. James Palmer from the NFL Network is going to join us at 1. Remember, we had James on right before the draft. He kind of he had a pretty good feel of everything that was going to be happening Eagles wise. So I'm looking forward to talking to him and getting his impressions of just everything that's gone down this offseason. So we'll talk to James at 1 o'clock. Certainly, Phillies. They had a pretty wild weekend, guys. They lost yesterday, but they took the first 2 games, both shutouts over the Cardinals, and they just keep figuring out ways to win. We had some all-star nods and some all-star slights for the Phillies, which we'll get into as well. We didn't dig in on Friday to the tough parts of the Eagles' schedule, so we're going to get into that as well. Some Sixers stuff, some fun. I'll pose the question to you guys. Can you still root for your team even if there's a guy on the team that's a bad dude? Ooh. So we'll debate that. And I'll set the context of it a little bit later, and all kinds of other stuff in store. So we see everybody in the chat. We appreciate you. Sorry to get a chance to acknowledge everybody personally, like I usually do off the top of the show, but we appreciate you.
Came out guns blazing, Rob.
Yeah, even Mrs. Brooks. We didn't say hi to Mrs. Brooks like we always do. No disrespect, Mama Brooks.
She's watching the show, but she's watching on the TV now, so she can't respond on her phone. She's watching. She just can't respond. Hi, Mom, and my grandson, bro.
Oh, she's home, right? She's with you.
Yeah, she's with me.
Oh, Mom's there.
Oh,
we gotta talk. We gotta get Mom on the show this week. Mom needs to be on the show.
Yes. She's cool.
Yeah, Mom needs to be on the show.
She's watching my grandson. Well, my grandson's playing this game.
All right.
Mrs. Brooks, we need you on the show for about 10 minutes. That's all.
Can you guys see? Can you see any of these like cuts on me?
What happened, bro? You can't shave like that, man.
So I bought these like cheapskate razors.
Oh,
like
geez.
not the ones I usually buy.
Oh, jeez. Oh my goodness.
You can't go to there's only certain things you get from the dollar store, bro.
You might as well use a plastic butter knife, dude.
So I finished up today. I'm like, man, it doesn't feel great. So we had our show meeting, and I go upstairs. I look in the mirror. I'm like, I'm all broken out. I was like, I shaved for the first time today with these crappy razors, man. Anyway,
what name
bro,
brand
I did the
did you buy,
same thing,
dude?
man. I would have shaved my head and everything before the show too, man.
Yeah, I forget that. I don't even know what the name of the brand is. I don't even
Toys
know.
R Us? I mean,
They were really cheap, bad. I usually use Gillette, which is really legit.
They're the greatest ever, bro.
Double edge, baby. Double edge.
They didn't have them, and then there was this other kind that was like ridiculously expensive. So I went with of course, the cheapskate, ones, and I'm paying the price.
Okay,
to say the least.
All right, when you start bleeding on air, don't say we didn't tell you, man. I'm telling you.
Tourniquet, yeah. All right, so like I said, James Palmer at 1. We'll hit some Phillies. We'll hit some Eagles, tough parts of the schedule, a lot of other stuff that we will dive into. So don't go anywhere. We appreciate you hanging with us on this Monday. We are Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Huh?
I gotta eat my
All right, you
eat what?
Pop-Tart, man.
All right, get your grub on, man. Get your grub on.
You don't put it in the microwave first?
No.
He eats it raw.
Oh, that's gross, man. You got to put it in the
He's a
microwave,
manly
man.
man.
You got to soften it up, baby.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
All
that's
right,
nasty.
let Barrett eat, and we'll keep doing our things and